Hey everyone, I'm Courtney and I'm the drummer and also part of the tech crew at Cedarview Community Church in Newmarket, Ontario. And this is going to be a quick video showing you how you can control the key in Autotune in Pro Tools using Midi control messages sent from Ableton Live over your wireless network. The first thing you need to do on both machines is set up a session inside the network tab of your audio Midi setup. Okay, let's take a look at what we're gonna do here. So we're gonna go up to Spotlight and we're gonna type in audio Midi setup and we're gonna go into audio Midi setup. This is your audio, but we need to go to Midi. So we're gonna go Windows and show Midi Studio. And over here, we're gonna go to the network section, okay? You're gonna need to create a session by hitting the plus sign here, and you need to do that on both machines, Ableton and on Pro Tools. Now, I'm already connected, so I'll show you here. I've disconnected. So this is the name of our Pro Tools machine. I'm gonna click it. And when I go over here, you'll see as soon as I click, there's my Ableton rig. So now these two computers are talking to each other over our wireless network. Now we'll take a look at what we have to do inside of Ableton to make this all work. Okay, first thing we need to do is open up our Ableton Live. And we are going to go into our preferences and we are going to go to the Midi tab, and you'll now see that you have network session 1 in and out. And you're going to enable track and remote on the in and the out. Okay, next we're going to create a Midi track inside of Ableton. And we're going, I just called it Autotune for now, and then come down and we are going to adjust our input and output. For your input, change it to no input. We want to make sure there's nothing coming through Midi that could go into this and affect what's coming out. For the output, we're going to set it to that network that we just set up. And from there, you're all good to go. Okay, next step is to go into Pro Tools and we're gonna change some preferences inside of Autotune to make sure that it's receiving on the correct Midi notes. Okay, now here we are inside of Pro Tools and I'm going to open Autotune. From here, we're gonna go over to our preferences and we are gonna make some changes here in the Midi control assignments. You can control all kinds of different things in here, but for this example, we need to set our key to 15 and our scale to 16. I've set a couple other things, but you don't have to. Next, we're gonna go back to Ableton and I'm gonna show you what parameters to change inside the Midi clips on that Midi track that we made. Okay, here we are back inside of Ableton Live. This is Ableton 11, and this was our set from Sunday morning. It's One True God, This I Believe, a hymn, and then God So Loved at the end. The first 3 songs we did were all in the key of A, so we're gonna actually set this to change Autotune to the key of A. So first thing we need to do is create a Midi clip. We'll come down here and we're gonna turn off loop. We only needed to do it once. Then we're gonna come down here and we're gonna go to our envelope section and Midi control, and we're gonna make sure we're on channel 15 because that's what we just set up inside of Pro Tools. Now, for this example, I have also made a little document over here to tell me which values correspond to the correct keys. So we can see for the key of A, it's control message 103 to 114. So we can just set this to say 110. Okay, now that we've got that set, if you need to, you can also actually change from major to minor using number 16, and that is here as well. You can see major is 0 to 4 and minor 5 to 8, chromatic 9 to 13. Okay, a couple more things we have to do inside of Pro Tools to make sure this all works. Let's go check that out. Okay, now that we're back inside of Pro Tools, we need to create a MIDI track, which I have done here. Our input is going to be network session 1, channel 1. And our output is going to be any of the auto tunes on channel 1. And since Luke has already done the work of automating all of those together, you only have to do it on 1. One last thing to check inside of Pro Tools, if we go to Setup, MIDI, and Input Devices, just make sure that Network Session 1 is checked on. Okay, so now we're ready to try this. One thing to remember inside of Pro Tools, that MIDI track that we created has to be record enabled so that it's actually listening for that MIDI signal. And just I want to show you, just to confirm, that right now Autotune is set to F minor. I just randomly checked that. And so let's go back to Ableton. We've got our clip set up. We've got it set up to fire A major. Our routing is all set. And as soon as I click start of the first song, you're going to see that Autotune will change.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, well, that was a little in-depth, but it's a little bit of a complicated process to get it all set up, but once you've got it, it's actually pretty simple. So I'm going to put a comment in the thread of this discussion with all the MIDI values that you need to know for each key, and I hope this helps you guys, because it's going to make life on our volunteers a lot easier. Thanks, everyone.